Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Sansing. This is what's happening in Corpus Christi. A lot of the Taxpayers Association stuff will be mentioned today. And today is Sunday, March the 29th, 2015. So Mr. Gordy doesn't fuss at me. But anyway, got some stuff I need to talk about. Number one is this t-shirt. Now, I was asked many years ago when the Las Brisas Energy Center, through the Chase Energy out of Houston, decided they wanted to put a great big huge pollution belching power plant out here to burn some of the worst stuff in the world and run us out of a term which is non-attainment with a lot of different chemicals, okay, pollutants. So I thought this would be appropriate today, and just let me give you some background. The City Council and the Port of Corpus Christi and all the high rollers around here, all the money boys, real estate cartel and so forth and so on, wanted that power plant in here because they said it would be an economic boom. Now, we proved to the state and everybody else that that wasn't as good a deal as they thought, like killing 80 babies a year just with part of the pollution, and then doing in a bunch of other cardiac patients because of the particulate matter plugging up their lungs and triggering all kinds of asthma attacks and that type of thing, allergies. So the thing was never built right here in downtown Corpus Christi, Texas, right out on the ship channel. At the time, all of the people that were involved in that, it was called the Clean Economy Coalition, and I was asked to chair that because of my background in biochemistry, toxicology, and so forth. And I've agreed to do that. It was a very interesting, essentially 5 years, I guess, in my life. I'm still the chair of that group, and we're still concerned about things going on around here. But what's sprung up lately is EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is going to lower some of the emissions that can be in the air, and particularly ozone. Now, that's a molecule that's 3 oxygens bonded together, okay? And it is produced by a wide variety of different things, electrical generators, and then atmospheric reactions going on between the nitrogen oxides and so forth and so on. But, and I won't get into the chemistry of that, but it can be quite detrimental to living systems. If you want to get rid of microorganisms in the air and so forth, then you can use an ozone generator and build up the ozone level, and it'll just kill them flat out. Okay, so it's very hazardous to living systems, particularly animals and certain microorganisms. Now, we pleaded with the community. This was the city council and the county commissioners and all the big shots around here that wanted that energy center placed in here, and said that we were going to go into non-attainment with various types of chemicals and pollutants if that plant went in. And nobody wanted to listen. They said, that doesn't make any difference. We're out to make a whole bunch of money. So it bumped along for a while, and finally the Las Brisas Energy Center did not come to fruition and saved us a lot of problems. Now, just recently, the Environmental Protection Agency wants to reduce the ozone levels from 75 parts per billion in the air to 60 to 65. And now that's got everybody all of a sudden rattled, and they're talking about non-attainment. Now, that was a non-issue for them when they saw all that money in the air, but now it's a real issue now that we're getting closer to non-attainment in Corpus Christi, Texas. So it says in the paper back on the 17th, 10 days ago in the Caller Times, it says Houston Air makes efforts futile, they say. Okay, it says local leaders slam EPA rule change. Now here, I'm just going to read a little bit of this so you can understand where I'm coming from. Okay, Houston Air blowing into Corpus Christi could force businesses here to pay millions in air quality control measures if a proposed Environmental Protection Agency rule change becomes law. Okay? The EPA rule change in question is the maximum allowable amount of surface level ozone, which is measured in parts per billion. Okay? Ozone in the atmosphere shields the Earth from harmful UV rays, but surface level ozone can make people sick at high levels. Okay? Now, I don't know if they meant the people are sick at high levels or if the ozone makes people sick when the ozone levels get high. You see, this is kind of I would not have worded it quite like that. Okay, Corpus Christi and most Texas air fully complies with the national standard of 75 parts per billion, but shifting that standard to 65 to 70 parts per billion could spell disaster for businesses, Corpus Christi leaders said Friday. Okay, and then it goes on about moaning and groaning about this. Now, why that wasn't a big issue during the push for Las Brisas Energy Center, I don't know. Plus, there would, in addition to ozone, a lot of the other pollutants would have been putting us into non-attainment. Now, what happens with the ozone, folks, if you are not within attainment levels at 60 or 75 parts per billion, then what happens is if you go above that, okay, and you exceed that, you're put into non-attainment, and then you have to do an awful lot of things that are very expensive. Now, I don't know how many of you travel to other places in Texas where they have been deemed out of attainment, but that's when you have those boots on the gas pumps and so forth. And that shook everybody up around here because it said on average such an overhaul would cost about $100,000 for each service station, said Foster Edwards, president of the CEO of the Corpus Christi Chamber of Commerce. Okay. Then he goes on about dry cleaners. And then it went on about how terrible this was going to be, and then it mentions a woman by the name of Gretchen Arnold, who's the chairwoman of the Air Quality Control Group. Didn't get much pressure out of that group when it came to killing babies and so forth with Las Brisas, but I'm not going to comment on all that. I'm not here to throw bricks at those people. Okay? It says, before Corpus Christi has any authority, we're already out of attainment, Arnold said. Don't punish us in Corpus Christi for what was done somewhere else. Now, let me ask you this. They keep harping that this stuff is blowing in from Houston and that's what's doing us in. Okay? No, it's our local stuff too, folks. Now, let me ask you this. If we have a prevailing southeast breeze, which means the wind comes off the Gulf from the southeast, okay, from the Gulf of Mexico, and blows northwest, then how are we getting a whole bunch of ozone down here from Houston, Texas? How many times does the wind blow out of the north? Okay? So, I fail to see why a lot of the local yokels around here think that some of us are so stupid we can't figure things out. Okay? I mean, I understand prevailing winds, but I just thought I'd throw that at you. So we're going to blame it on Houston now. Okay? We're not going to blame it on the number of companies here that go in and produce ozone and volatile organic chemicals and particulate matter and everything else. It's not our fault. We're going to blame it on somebody else. Well, I think we need to take care of our own nest before we start throwing bricks at somebody else. So I'm a little bit concerned about the locals around here blaming everything on everybody else except themselves, their own greedy selves. Okay? Live with it, folks. Make sure number one, we get refineries to reduce these pollutants around here. Make sure that we put some pressure on some of these polluting other industries around here and make sure that they do the same. And we are becoming quite the place to be by an awful lot of companies that are going to dump some real horrendous stuff on us if we're not real careful. But the local business people trying to make a killing in life at your expense out there, ladies and gentlemen, your health, they don't seem to give a damn about anything except them making money. So now they're going to squawk about it. Now, they're going to blame the EPA. Now, there are a lot of things that happen, and we've got one toxicologist over here I'm going to mention in a minute. I don't know where he or she came from. You know, I've had a lot of toxicology background in my past, folks. Okay, and I was with the microbial toxins group out of Auburn University through graduate school. Went to Peoria, Illinois, to a Northern Regional Research Lab, and did more microbial toxins and so forth and so on, naturally occurring toxins, as well as antibiotic research. Then I worked quite a bit with some of the best toxicologists, if not the best, Dr. Carlton, Bill Carlton, William W. Carlton at Purdue University, and published some papers with him, quite a few. So I know how to spell toxicology, all right? And being a biochemist, I know the effects of these toxins on animal systems and plant systems and microbial systems. So I'm not a novice to all this, and all the EPA is trying to do is not shut down business, folks. You pay the federal government to continue with the Environmental Protection Agency to do just that, protect your environment and you from all these health hazards. They're not there to be proponents and try to make money for a bunch of these companies around here that really don't care about your health and welfare. They're after $1, folks. You know, they couldn't care less about whether you've got asthma or whether your children have asthma or skin rashes or clog their lungs up with particulate matter. That does not matter to these people. When you're after the almighty dollar at that stage of the game, folks, you don't care, don't give a rip about anything else. So I'm telling you this from a Taxpayers Association point of view too. It's a tragedy. It's just like letting possums run free. Okay, that's a health hazard. You know, putting certain chemicals in your drinking water, that's a health hazard. And these people, as long as they're making a dime, they don't give a damn about you. I'll be totally honest with you. I found that out here in Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm not so stupid. I can't believe that. Now then, today there's another one on the front page. It says ozone scores statewide, and then city score in parts per billion in quality control and all this good stuff. And it says leaders say tightened EPA emissions rules will increase cost of doing business. Well, it probably will. But what's the health and welfare of a sick child, okay, with asthma, okay, and severe allergies, and old folks with their lungs clogged up with all these pollutants and particulate matter and all? I mean, you know, what price do you put in this community on a human life? I'd just like to ask you that. Okay? I mean, I can't place a price and say, well, you know, if you cost me $50,000, to hell with you, I'll go ahead and watch you die. I mean, that's not what human beings are all about, folks, and particularly not me. All right, so I want you to think about the prevailing winds, and we're being polluted to death from Houston, Texas, which is hogwash. Okay, it sounds good in the newspaper, and then we can blame it on Houston. Okay, now they need to shape up there too. Changing standards. This is out of that article that came out today. Currently, 55 to 70 air monitoring stations in Texas meet the EPA's ozone standard, which is measured in 8-hour averages. Both monitoring stations in Corpus Christi register acceptable readings. We got 2 of them here, folks, and that's it. Okay, so you can talk to some other people about providing you with more air testing around here. Corpus Christi fares very well in terms of an industrial-based city that is still in compliance with the EPA air quality standards, which is very unusual, said Gretchen Arnold, chairwoman of the Corpus Christi Air Quality Control Group. There's only a couple of other industrial-based cities in the United States that are still in attainment. Okay, that's good for us. Then it goes on to say, you know, a little bit about Fort Worth and so forth and so on. And then it goes on, it says, if 65 parts per billion were adopted, more than 84% of the state's monitoring stations would fall into non-attainment. That includes Corpus Christi, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and parts of El Paso. The McAllen Harlingen-Brownsville area is the only part of the state that wholly complies with the lower proposed standard. Now, if we've got all this air coming out of Houston and running down the coast, then I would think that down there at Brownsville, Harlingen, they'd have a problem too. And then we would be contributing to that with all this north wind, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. Okay? Then I wanted to read you something that made my blood run cold. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. It's certainly true that air pollution can travel far distances, so it's true areas Americans expect to be protected and clean can still have unhealthy air quality some days, said Luke Metzger, founder and director of Environment Texas. That is further evidence we need to do more to rein in pollution. Okay? Let's see, there was something in here by, oh, here it is, a toxicologist. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality's official stance, as written by Toxicology Division Director Michael Honeycutt, is there, quote, there will be little to no public health benefit from lowering the current standard. Okay? That's ludicrous, folks. That's from a toxicologist. And then it goes on, and Metzger's got a few more things to say. All I can say is, if you people out there that are taxpayers and voters, if you want to have the EPA shut down and let industry and stuff and big money go wild and pollute you into oblivion, then why don't you go to the polls and have your congressmen and senators and so forth, your House of Representatives and senators, put it on the ballot and vote the bums out, as they say. I mean, those are professionals, folks. They're trying to protect you and your health because that's what it is designed to do. It's the Environmental Protection Agency. So when your environment goes stinko, like places in China and so forth, where you can't breathe and you're choking to death all the time, then maybe you people will appreciate what's been going on in the scientific world. Okay? All right. Now, I'll get off of the thing, but you know, don't back things like this coming in there, city council members and real estate brokers and all you fine poor people out there making big salaries with the port, trying to get more pollution in here and so forth and so on. Take care of what you've got, and then you can go after the rest of it. Okay? Now, I'm going to take a few minutes here. I've got a little over 10 left as the taxpayers, and tell you that I am very distraught and very, very perturbed about the way that this city and this county and Del Mar College treat taxpayers. Okay? Now, what I'm talking about is there's certain information that is public. It should be provided to the public upon request when you pay all this tax money around here to hire a bunch of people to run the city and to run Del Mar College. That money comes out of your pocket, ladies and gentlemen, and why you won't go vote is just beyond me. Okay? But let me tell you what, I've had some real problems here recently with Del Mar College providing information when legitimately and legally asked for through the Texas Public Information Act requests. Okay? Now I'm going to start with one of them. We have a problem over on Air Lane at the, what is that? Is that Sunrise Mall? No, I don't think it is. It's the one right across from the main mall over there. It's the strip center. And it's got 3, 4, 5 palm trees growing out of the sidewalks down that side of Air Lane. It's right about SPID and Air Lane. Now, we've got one of our members, past president, Mr. Jack Gordy, who has been trying to get information about the legalities or illegalities of those palm trees sticking out of the sidewalk over there. There's about 18 inches clearance between the street and those palm trees, or the palm trees and a bunker So if you're in a wheelchair, folks, there's no way in the world you're going to get down that sidewalk. All you have to do is back up and then go up through an incline into a parking lot and risk your life in that parking lot and then come back down. And there are several fire hydrants in there also. Okay? Now Mr. Gordy has tried to get information from the city. And I guess our new city attorney, I've never met the man. I was just glad to see Carlos Valdez gone. But Mr. Gordy was told, after he asked for the page that indicated that the city could make the rash statement that they were not in, they were in compliance because they had a waiver from doing anything about those palm trees and fixing that sidewalk up for passage through the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. They're the ones that dictate, you know, you slope down the sidewalks so people can cross the street. And there's a lot of that going on for, they say, ADA compliance. Now, the city has told him that they had that ability and had been waived, that they don't need to do anything about that sidewalk out there. So Mr. Gordy, knowing better, has contacted the Americans with Disabilities Act people, and they said, no, I don't think so. So the city's been out of compliance with them for a number of years. Now the fines added up could come up to be one great big huge hickey for you taxpayers out there, and the city still is saying that they've got a waiver. So Mr. Gordy said, where in that 1,000 pages that you're trying to bill me for is that one page which indicates that ADA has indicated that you are exempt from that particular section of land over there. And then after pursuing that, he's told now that the city can't afford to cut those 4 or 5 palm trees down out there and grind the stumps down and pour concrete in that thing so that our unfortunate people that depend on wheelchairs and walkers can get up and down that sidewalk. And that's a pretty busy one, folks. That's a pretty good you know, business area right down there. So that's the story with that. So they don't care about Public Information Act requests, and they don't care about the laws of the state of Texas. And I think that some of us are just going to go ahead and have to lean on it and find out. Now, I've asked for stuff, and so has a good friend of mine, Mr. Ed Bennett, on many occasions for information concerning what appear to be accounting irregularities at Del Mar College. And we've talked about this at our taxpayers meetings and so forth and so on. We've got a general membership meeting coming up on April 25th, and I'm not sure where it's going to be held. The place that I had tried to contract is asking me if I'll find some other place to hold my meeting while somebody has a baby shower, and you know, I'll see what I can do to work out with that. But I can guarantee nothing. But on the next show, I will go ahead and put it out. Now, if you want to go to the cctaxpayers.com, then you can get into our website also. Okay, that's of course cctaxpayers.com. Okay, now at Del Mar College, now I have indication that several documents were requested, and that was really on my behalf by a CPA accountant about a course that's run out of sequence over there, and the cost and who determined that thing was needed and so forth and so on. And I smell the double standard, good old boy, let's pamper one person and mess the rest of the faculty members around in that department. And you know, it's the privileged few over there, and I don't believe and I don't subscribe to that. So what was asked for is the cost of that class and several other things. Now, that Public Information Act request, which is a legal mechanism in the state of Texas, the Texas Public Information Act laws, that paperwork, that information was asked for on that particular class, and also for a lot of information on accounting irregularities. There were 2 separate PIAs on that one on February 15th. And Delmar's been messing around and screwing around and bobbing and weaving against the Public Information Act request laws since February 15th until yesterday. Or no, it was the day before yesterday, the 27th on Friday. That's when the information was finally provided, and then a lot of it that I had asked for through Mr. Bennett was not forthcoming from Delmar College. So I guess what I'm going to do is just going to have to be Mr. Popular one more time and just make an appointment with the Attorney General's office up in Austin, and also the Texas Workforce Commission, and you know, the state auditor's office, and let's just see what's going on, because Delmar College and the city of Corpus Christi in particular are not forthcoming, and they do not abide by the laws, okay, from the Texas Attorney General's office, and those are the laws pertaining to the Texas Public Information Act. So if you don't mind calling your city council person excuse me, person for the purpose of complaining, and if you don't call your Board of Regents member at Delmar College and ask them what in the world's going on over there, where they sit on their fannies over there during these board meetings, and allow the business office over there, the financial guru, the CFO, past and present, to write off $2,838,000, okay, and like $54,000 that Texas A&M Kingsville owed us, $42,000 that the Navy owed us, and that's just a drop in the bucket on $2,838,000, and we're getting a runaround, folks. Okay, so I'm about through running around, except when I start running around again, it's going to be in the confines of the Texas Attorney General's office up there in Austin, Texas. Okay, and I'm going to find out what's going on. So if you want to know about any of that, then all you have to do is email me at gsansing, it's just GSANSING @gmail.com, and I'll be glad to catch you up. Okay, and then go into the Taxpayer Association website, and we're going to start reporting everything there too. So I don't know what to tell you out there, ladies and gentlemen, but please go vote and jump down their throats. Would you please? I need some help. Mr. Ed Bennett needs some help. Taxpayers Association needs some help. And I could go on for about 3 or 4 hours on some of the shenanigans just with Delmar College alone, not to mention the city and palm trees. But, you know, I mean, I didn't know we were so destitute we can't cut down 3, 4, 5 palm trees and then pour a little bit of concrete on the sidewalk where the holes are. I know we can't afford to put any decent asphalt in chug holes. So I'm winding down, about 35 seconds. Please join us, if you will, at the next Taxpayers Association on April 25th at 2 o'clock, and I'll give you the time later, okay? And as soon as I've worked that out with the place that we were supposed to have. So I'm going to wait here for just about, 15 seconds and say thank you all for watching. And when this buzzer goes off, I'll go ahead and stand up and turn the camera off, and then turn it over to my videographer and let him splice this thing together for me. So I hope everybody's fine. Bye. All right, Ed. I'm going to turn her off here.